Oh, look, dude, the Corridor crew did a video. Okay, we have to watch this.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Whoa, we are all back here for Visual Effects Artists React. It is October, and so the theme this year is Halloween. It's radical, I know.
All right, well, let's just jump in, guys.
I am the Pumpkin King.
So what is this movie? Is it like a stop motion film?
Yes.
I know it's Tim Burton.
Have you really never seen this?
I really have never seen this.
I'm going to consider stop motion visual effects because a lot of stop motion is used for visual effects. And there's a lot of visual trickery in stop motion. That's not your traditional digital effect that you're used to.
I mean, those are some digital leaves, am I right?
You're
Am
probably
I right?
not, actually.
I figured.
This reminds me of James and the Giant Peach.
Pretty sure James and the Giant Peach is the same director.
No way. This is an awesome little
I'm pretty
intro.
sure it is.
Oh, that's cool. That shot there reminded me of the wolf from Neverending Story.
That's a creepy movie.
Yeah, we should talk about that one soon.
Dang. Dude, the swamp scene.
Dude,
I'd rather not cry on this episode.
dude, the swamp scene traumatized me as a kid. The Neverending Story is so screwed, dude.
So, let's not. This is all captured in camera, right? It's all just a bunch of photos stacked together one after another because all these little clay puppets and whatnot are being molded frame by frame.
Pretty much the vast majority of what you're going to see is captured in camera. There's some trickery here and there.
What year did this come out?
1993.
Ah. So
Wow.
this came out the same year as Jurassic Park.
Hey, look at that fire. There wasn't a
Whoa.
single digital effect in that frame.
Hold up. How are they doing that though? Is that hand-drawn animated or is that a computerized digital effect?
See if you guys can guess how they did the torches.
Okay, here's my guess. They filmed the shot and then they just re-exposed the same film while looking at a fire.
That's close.
All right, so I think they filmed a fire element and they just went frame by frame and overlaid it on top of the other film.
Yes, you basically got it. So the way they did it, you know, you got all your people posed, they're holding torches, they'd have their one frame. They wouldn't do the whole shot, they just have the first frame. Then they'd take a little piece of paper to act as a movie screen. They'd stick it to the end of the torch. They'd turn off all the lights, and they'd project a little image of fire onto that little piece of paper, like it's a little mini movie screen, and then do one more exposure on the piece of film. So you'd have a double exposure, one of the entire scene, then one of just a little image of fire. This is literally the screen effect.
Yeah, screen effect.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's cool to see that they actually did the screen effect because these days in, say, After Effects, you'll have like your footage layer and then an element layer. Let's say you recorded flames against a black background, but you just need the flames, not the black background.
That's actually,
And the way to
like,
do it is you just set it
that's
to
pretty
screen
insane.
Or add or some sort of transparency mode like that. The way it works is basically every pixel within the footage gets applied a number. So a black pixel is actually 0 and a white pixel is 255. And so it just takes those numbers and adds them to the one below. But if it's 0, can't add 0 to anything, so you just end up with the pixel that was below it, your original footage. But fire, on the other hand, is much brighter, and because it's so much brighter, it carries through.
It's insane how much easier it is for us now with After Effects and Photoshop to be able to do the things that would take hours for these guys back in the day, which for us is just seconds.
I wholeheartedly agree. I feel like every time I hear about any of this stuff going down and how many hours, how many man hours that they have to actually put in to make like something that to me looks simple, and me, obviously I'm not like an artist, or I'm not a VFX artist to any extent, but like I can go into Photoshop and do something that would in the 1990s probably take me like a team to make. It's pretty crazy how far technology has come.
Then you have like the water there, which is a effect added afterwards. It's another element that's been probably composited in this case, digitally.
Oh, wait. There's a mask line where he comes out of the water there. It's not moving. You can see
Yep,
it.
it just holds static.
He just came out of a hole.
Yeah, it just came out of the well. There's no water in there. He's
Yeah.
just rising out of it.
And then how are they doing the drippy drops on him like that?
That's just like probably wax or glue just being moved down.
So that's stop motion.
Yeah, it has that stop motion effect to it.
That is
Yeah.
some master animation.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind too that these animators have the foresight to like get the perfect movement.
Well, they do have some tools that help them achieve that. This is just when you're starting to have things like video and some computer frame playback. So they would have a video capture of their last frame or the last couple frames, and they could watch it on video and go back and forth and see their most recent frame to see if everything is moving correctly. And then they wanted the movie to have like natural flowing camera motion. So you have shots where like, the camera's moving through a set, and the animators are like, how do we animate the puppets? there's a camera right here that's like bigger than my body. And so, you know, part of it is you'd be suspended above, poking down into the set. It's still not enough though. They actually set up a motion control rig. So motion control is basically where your camera is robotically controlled in its position. So you can have it repeat the exact same movement or go to the same position. So they'd have the camera doing a move, and they would motion control to leave the set, come in, make their adjustments, and the camera motion controls back to the exact same spot where it was.
Awesome.
Dude, that sounds so meticulous.
Yo. Yeah. Wow. So on top of being stop motion, I don't know if it's claymation too though, right? So on top of being stop motion and claymation, like there's so much camera work involved in this. That's pretty nuts. Wow, dude. So how long did it take I gotta find out how long it took to actually make A Nightmare Before Christmas. You know what I mean?
Now, you guys have noticed how Jack Skellington's face like animates really smoothly. One of the reasons for that is using something called replacement animation. So a lot of the stuff is you're just bending things, right? But for something like Jack's face, which has so much expression, the eyebrows are like built into his skull.
Oh,
and
I
stuff.
know.
Yeah, so they're using replacement animation where it's just different head models that they're swapping to.
Yeah.
So they've just sculpted all the head models beforehand. And the hard thing about all that is that you have to sculpt every phoneme with all your expressions.
So they actually made the entire range of possible facial animations and just had all of those heads as a set.
Yes.
And depending on the scene and depending on the dialogue, they would pick and choose the correct head.
Yes, except the picking and choosing happened in a computer beforehand where they had the recorded takes and they had just the faces. They went through and frame by frame figured out what head with which number they'd be using for each frame.
Dude, that is cool. I want those.
My own, I've got to know, what is this place that I am found? What is this?
What's the very first VFX
Wow, dude.
shot that you saw that blew your mind? Let us know in the comments.
Listen, cut the crap, okay? If you don't show yourself right now, I'm gonna have you arrested for trespassing.
So 2 years later, a movie came out called Casper.
I'm actually surprised that it took him this long to get to Casper on Corridor Crew, because I thought that Casper was like a pretty obvious movie that they should have taken on. Because I remember watching Casper and just having my mind blown as a kid. You know what I mean?
Hey, jeez, calm down, lady. Here I come. Hi, I'm Casper.
It was actually the first movie to ever have a full CG main character that interacted with the other live-action actors in the movie. It was also the first movie to have a CG character with full expressive emotion.
Who would have thought Casper would be like the defining like CG character historical moment?
It's actually a pretty groundbreaking movie in terms of visual effects. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on here. Let's just take a look.
What do they call these machines?
Look at this though. Look at this. This is awesome.
They call these machines a certain thing.
No problem.
Whoa, look at that!
He's filtering the orange juice pulp with his ghost hand.
Yeah, look at the picture too. It's all real.
Yeah, there's no fluid simulations happening there.
So the pitcher with the orange juice is obviously real. The orange juice itself pulling out of the pitcher is obviously real. But there is some sort of interaction happening with that hand there. It's going through something.
So you can see some artifacts here that could help give us a clue as to how the shot was done. When he stops pouring, the orange juice just disappears from his hand in a single frame. But the orange juice in the pitcher is still pouring. The pitcher and the cup are separate elements. So this would probably be a motion control setup, where the camera is going to film this multiple times. It's going to
Interesting.
repeat the same exact movements. You'll film your pitcher element once, you'll film your cup element second, and then probably get a clean plate without anything, just in case you need it for Casper.
Could be, yeah.
Give me my meal!
Okay.
Wait, are those
Those are
pieces of
definitely
food
CG.
CG?
They are.
CG food?
The artist who worked on this shot said it took him 2 months to finish this one shot.
Wow.
The mesh on that food was so dense. It required so much computer power.
That is one of the most impressive shots I've seen so far, and I'm willing to bet almost no one blinked an eye at it.
Can you please?
That's hilarious. That's so good.
Casper's got no respect for us.
After all we've done for the little glow worm.
Yeah. Hey, Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing?
Look at that there, though. We're looking at real chunky food bits on the ground while Casper's holding a CG dustpan with CG food on it.
CG food bits mixed in with real food bits, you can't tell the difference. You know, it's a good testament, once again, to understanding your lighting, understanding your shaders, understanding what you can do well,
Yeah,
and then
wow.
shooting for that. It also probably helps if there's a very CG character right next to it that's not supposed to look real. You know, in contrast, makes the food and the pan and the broom look real.
Yeah, your mind
This
wants
movie's
to
so
make it
good.
work.
It's like a magician.
Good filmmaking.
See, at the time, the state-of-the-art CG stuff was
Wait a minute. The ghosts that hang out with Casper, those ghosts are just random ghosts. They're not actually related to Casper in any way. Am I right in that? Yeah, but are they his uncle by blood, or are they just his uncles because they say so? Now I have to Google it. Casper the Ghost. There's got to be a Casper the Ghost wiki. Not much is known about how Casper became a ghost or how he ended up with the ghostly trio. In the 1995 feature film, he died when he contracted pneumonia from playing out in the cold too long. And that's the only backstory we have. This somewhat macabre premise was later abandoned in favor of the idea that ghosts were merely a type of creature, similar to ghouls, goblins. He was thereafter portrayed with feet and shown to have ghostly parents and became slightly slimmer. The stock answer provided by Harvey Comics in response to those wondering how Casper died was that he was a ghost simply because his parents were already ghosts when they were married. So apparently, Casper was just born a ghost. He was just dead. He was dead on arrival.
was like dinosaurs, but here we have an actual character that's emoting.
For the first time, yeah.
Yeah, we take it for granted that you can just animate a CG character. Like, you still have to build the systems for doing so.
So yeah, they built a facial capture rig to build out Casper's main facial expressions, and then you'd have animators go back in and specifically work on the lips. And they said it would take anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 months to finish any one of these shots, depending on how complicated the facial expressions were. And also, there's 3 other ghosts too in this movie. The ghosts are obviously dated, the animation's a little bit dated, but I think the way they combined the CG characters and the live action, it was groundbreaking for the time.
So the team that worked on this was ILM, and they pretty much immediately rolled off of doing this film, which they thought was really hard, and they immediately went into working on this movie.
Oh, I don't know the
Flubber.
actress's name.
Flubber!
Oh my
Sounds like baby shit.
God,
The
Flubber,
scariest
dude.
movies.
Flubber traumatized me as a child.
Wait, did it really?
I couldn't play with Silly Putty after that movie.
I saw the black and white version first, actually.
There's a black and white version of Flubber?
Yeah, it's actually arguably as good, if not better, than the remake.
Wait,
Really?
what?
Yeah.
Flubber is a remake?
You guys aren't aware
Flubber's-
that Robin Williams' version of Flubber is a remake?
Flubber's a remake? Wait, what? Oh, my mind is blown right now.
Yeah, there's like flying cars and all that stuff.
I did not know that. I miss Robin Williams.
We all do, man.
So this looks like a little abyss chrome tentacle thing.
Yeah, it's like the Abyss, but there's bubbles in it now.
It definitely looks like aloe vera. And what's funny is that they actually like referenced a ton of different materials like hair gel, toothpaste, and just photographed it from a bunch of different angles as inspiration for what Flubber should look like. Because Flubber is never actually practical in this movie. He is 100% CG every single time you see him.
Okay, and
Whoa!
Wow.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
That's a cool shot, right?
Yeah.
All right, I want to talk about that shot really quick because that was not planned.
Really? Oh, he just did that.
So here's the thing about Robin Williams. He is considered an improv master. And so when he's just riffing around on set, he just decided, you know what? What if I pretended to stretch it and then shove my face into it? And there's VFX artists on set supervising everything, but the director was like, yes, that was great.
They all have a heart attack.
They did. I didn't know what they were going to, especially because the director was like, yes, we are definitely keeping that. That was great. Good job, Robin Williams. And it took him 3 months to do that shot.
Really?
That one shot.
let's try and describe you. You're an elastomer. Yes, you're highly viscous, but
So yeah, the thing about animating Flubber is that he takes the shape of multiple different objects, so that was a huge animation challenge. Now, this is the same team that was just coming off of the back of Casper, where it's these amorphous physical objects that can take the shape of multiple things, and they had to apply it to this sort of effect. Normally when you animate something like a T-Rex, you have a rigged system. You know, you have all these bones and lines that you can actually move and animate. But with a little wiggly thing like this, you can't really use that same sort of rigging system that you would use on other projects. So they had to come up with a bunch of new stuff for this, and combine that with the fact that you're having to render a transparent and reflective object.
Oh.
There's a lot of cool stuff
I forgot
going on
about
with
this.
specific shot.
I completely forgot about this.
So that shot there where the camera's moving around this background, 100% CG?
It's gotta be.
No, that's practical. Those wide shots, yeah, that looks practical.
But even like the close-ups, it's the same set.
I mean, that could be real.
I would at first assume that this is a CG background, but it is nicely detailed. They could have done it. I don't know.
It was done for real.
Really?
On a miniature set 3 times bigger than what it actually was. So here's the problem. They wanted to have these sweeping camera moves, but the set, it was too small for an actual camera to move around. So they had to literally scale up the set 3 times, and they actually animated the camera moves on a computer ahead of time, and then translated that to a motion control device to move the camera through specifically how they planned.
That's so much work for something these days. You would just do the entire set in CG
Yeah, no,
and be
these,
done with it.
exactly. These days it would just be 100% CG, but they couldn't do that back then. The level of fidelity with a CG background wasn't good enough for what they needed for this moment. But here's the thing. They still had to make a CG version of this set for all of the reflections and the refraction through Flubber. Everything that you're seeing that's through Flubber is CG.
Oh my
God. It's not like they're rendering out Flubber that's slightly transparent and then just putting it on the background.
Yeah.
Like what you're seeing that's refracting through Flubber is the digital recreation of this 3 times larger set.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
So meticulous.
So it took a lot of work and effort just to make that, because it's one thing to have a velociraptor that's opaque and it's reflecting your scene, but just the lights. But if you were to have like a chromed out object, now it's actually reflecting imagery from your scene. But for it to also be transparent, like Flubber is here with little air bubbles in between. That's also doing double
insane,
refractions
man.
and stuff like that. It requires so much effort to make that look photoreal.
Dude, this is so detailed, and this is just deep for this Flubber dance number for no reason. These guys work really hard every single day, and they could use a little treat, maybe a little chocolate chip cookie action. So go ahead and subscribe. If we get 1,000 subscribers from this push right here, these guys are getting chocolate chip cookies next episode.
That sounds really nice. Hey, please subscribe. I'd like some cookies.
Someone get this guy some cookies.
That we're about to look at a goof. Birdemic! Remember when we watched Birdemic?
I do remember when we watched Birdemic.
Here they come.
Oh no.
Look at this.
Oh no, dude.
I've managed to go my whole life without watching this.
God, this
Yeah, all
is
the
so
birds
bad.
are like, they're never tracked.
It's like clip art.
This is very clearly just super low budget filmmaking, so it's just probably one director who's probably also operating the camera and telling the actors, all right, pretend birds are attacking you and fight them off. And as an actor, there's only so much you can do. You're like, okay, you're just assuming that birds are gonna be expertly applied later. And
Dude, can you imagine thinking that this movie was like your big break and then going into like the viewing and just sitting down and being like, okay, this is my big moment. This is it. This is. Oh no.
Okay, here's the thing. I bet you it was a college student with
This is like Eric Andre's favorite movie. Bird Up.
his college buddies saying, I am gonna make a film and you guys are gonna be in my film.
Clint, I would agree with you if this weren't shot in Los Angeles. In fact, this is like an LA thing. It's definitely like, we're gonna go and we're gonna make a movie.
I think we're on the same page. We're basically saying like, it's serious.
You gotta at a certain point. You can't make a feature film ironically.
isn't he like a middle-aged Asian dude? If he was intentionally trying to make this ironically, it wouldn't have been good. It became a cult classic because it's so bad, but he wasn't trying to make it bad.
You know what? Good for him, man.
I mean, yeah, hey, he made the movie.
Look, we can be upfront and say it's not a good movie. That's okay. As an artist, you're gonna make bad stuff, especially your first.
Damn, this guy needs a... I can't shake him. Get him off my tail.
gonna be bad. You know what? If you want to make movies, your first one's not gonna be good either. It's gonna suck. So get it done and get it out and make the second one.
Imagine making a movie so bad that it becomes a cult classic. Imagine being that guy. Everybody comes up to you, damn, dude, you made that really terrible movie, and you're like, aw. And then they turn to you and they're like, but I loved it. And you're like, wait, what? But I loved it.